The Monday Morning Marketing Podcast is brought to you by Esther of IPA Group, bringing premier online promotion to your business.
And Melanie of Stomp Social Media Training, who empowers business owners to manage social media and marketing for themselves. Welcome back to another episode of the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast. Today we're talking about user-generated content. So, what is user-generated content, Melanie, and do you use it a lot?
User-generated content is the end user who purchases your products or your services, and they generate content, hopefully favorable content, about how they feel about your product or your service. And when people do go to the trouble of creating hopefully favorable content, it's absolutely well worth resharing it. The downside is that not everybody knows to tag either a tool or the right or the right page. So you may have some content out there that people haven't tagged you in or tagged the right page in. They may believe they've got the right one, but they haven't. So it's definitely worth looking.
Yeah, definitely. So mostly they are reviews. They are, like Melanie says, hopefully favorable reviews. They could be videos, they could be in your stories, they could be photos, they could be written reviews that they leave on your Google business profile or your socials.
And just for the record, everybody, that's the first time she said it right.
And I took a beat to try and remember which one it was. But it could be anything like that. But you can also request that your users generate content for you. So say you're going to have one of those dreaded competitions that nobody should really be running on social media, but you want to, you want to give your customers back something. So say it's going to be a discount code or it's going to be a free gift if they share a video of them using your product or wearing your product. If they talk favorably, it's almost like bribing in a way now that I'm saying it, but if they talk favorably about your product or service, you could give them, put them all people in the hat and do it that way. My kids go to a football camp and the coach usually raffles off or does that with one of the free places for his camp, and he just gets them to do skills on football. So he'll say, right, this week I need you to do the crossbar challenge, and they all have to try and hit the crossbar as many times as they can in a certain amount of time. Or, something to show their football skills, not Facebook skills. Nobody has Facebook skills as a kid anyway. So he then puts all the people into a list and draws a name out of the hat, and they get a free place at his camp. So it's not generating content specifically about him, but it is helping the kids learn new tricks regarding football. And it, at the end of the day, people share it and people see it and people think that he's a great coach, which he is, because of the skills that these kids are learning. Any other examples?
Oh, you thought you'd remember me again. That was nice. Okay. Well, yes. I think another valuable tool for user-generated content is you understand the language that your audience is using. So, okay, they may take photos and videos of your products or your services, or maybe you speaking at an event or something like that. But you find out what's resonating with them because they make a point of actually mentioning it in the post or the tweet. And that really helps you understand how they think, what they've interpreted from that product or that service, and the language that they're using. So I think it's actually a really vital research tool.
Absolutely. Some of the best examples, does anything stand out to you, Melanie, of good user-generated content? Or UGC, as people shorten it to?
Honestly, no. It's such a varied route because it really depends on the platforms you're looking on. It's treated so differently. I mean, when you are tagged in a story on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, you get notified. But if you're not mentioned, then you're missing out on a huge amount of data. Now, we as brand ambassadors of Agora Pulse, hi guys, we're brand ambassadors of Agora Pulse.
In case we haven't mentioned it before.
Yes, just once or twice. They have a tool that helps you understand any mentions, so you can put down the initials of your business, or part, the full name or the part name of your business, or your personal name, because they could also be mentioning, Esther Ocampo or Melanie Boylan, and those will be found. It's kind of like what is formerly known as Google Alerts, if you like. Now, if you don't want to go down the route of third-party planners like that, just immediately, then a Google Alert is nearly the next best thing. But in fairness, you do tend to get some really random stuff sent to you as well.
Very, very random. Yeah.
But it's, for people who are starting out, it might be a good way to find out how often you're getting mentioned and where you're getting mentioned, if it's you, of course.
Oh, yes, of course. And one thing that sometimes doesn't come up, or maybe we don't think about or remember, is getting permission from the users who have generated the content to reshare that on our own social media.
See, where the argument there is if they've tagged you,
yeah,
then
if they've tagged you, then that's fair. In my opinion, that's fair game.
If they've put it up
but if
on
they haven't
socials,
tagged you,
then surely they're open to having it reshared.
Well, what if they used say you have a hashtag that you use, so Stompies, for example, in your case, if you use it as a hashtag, but somebody is using it as, Stom Pies, they think it's something else, then you go to share it.
Well, it's down to the personal interpretation. If I see a bunch of rather good-looking pies in the picture, then I'm going to go from that they weren't talking about me. It would only be relevant to share content that's about me and my business. But honestly, I think it's open season, and anybody who shares something publicly, as we've discussed in previous podcasts, there are different ways of sharing our content and keeping it to communities, to groups, or even to close friends and family. But if you put it out on the web, you run the risk of it being grabbed, used, utilized, and reshared.
Okay, so then what if it's something that you don't want out there on the web, that it doesn't go with your brand guidelines, that it doesn't, they have tagged you, your brand, your company, but it's either negative or it hasn't been photographed in the best light.
Since when did you stop playing devil's advocate? That's my job.
Since you've been giving all the good information in this podcast, I'm playing bad cop.
Okay, well, obviously, I wouldn't ignore any bad feedback or any bad content, but I certainly wouldn't reshare it. What I would do, though, is absolutely publicly, because now we're talking like crisis management here. Publicly, I would address those issues. Okay, really sorry to hear you've had this bad experience, or sorry that you were delivered such poor condition products. Let me have a look into your deliveries. Let me sort out a replacement. And then after you've made all those public responses, then suggest taking the conversation through to a direct message or a private message and dealing with the personal data off air, if you like.
Yeah. Definitely don't leave the elephant in the room. Don't leave it just sitting there. But some of the things that we've mentioned here, some people could get a little confused between user-generated content and influencer marketing. But they are different, because generally with user-generated content, you're not paying for them to talk nicely.
Oh, absolutely not. This is just spur of the moment, feel-good factor stuff that people are sharing because they're honestly pleasantly delighted.
Yeah. And we love people to be delighted, and we love feedback as well. So, feel free to go onto our socials and leave us any reviews. Pleasant nice ones, obviously, because we are nice and you're nice and all our listeners are nice. But, user generated content isn't probably used enough by some brands. This is why it's important, guys, to go and ask for reviews. Send a little note inside any products that you send saying, share this on social media. Make sure that people know how to tag you and where to tag you. All right. That's our 5 cents for today. That's our information for you. And we hope that you will grow from this and do better. That's it for today, guys. We're back with more Monday Morning Marketing next week. Until then, bye-bye.
Right, that's it. I'm going to go and get my second cuppa. Gonna relax into the morning with a nice warm cup.
What's your tipple of taste?
I'm a Nescafe lover.
Oh no, tea all the way. Tea. Black tea.
Black tea.
Has to be.
No sugar?
Yes. Punjanet, no sugar, just a splash of milk. Well, a dribble of milk.
My God, you sound more British than me.
I am.